Leave it. That's fine. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijanna Vallabha Giri Varadari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijanna Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare Yo Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jai Shri Radha Radhanath ki Jai Jai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Om Jnana Timarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So I said, I want to start the class with a nice hip-hop tune. I hope it was hip-hop. But anyway, so dear devotees, please give me all your blessings. This is the first time I'm sitting here in front of you to give a class. And I think I've experienced what is called the dualities of life today. Every time that I sat that side, I'll say, which day am I going to sit here? And today when that day has arrived, I say, no, it's better to be there. And the other duality that I experience, whenever I somebody is giving the class, I'm always anchoring for the garland. Today I got the garland and I'm not giving it to anybody. All right. So I was instructed by Isaiah to make this class as interactive as possible. So I don't know who appointed Isaiah as my Vada Pradaksha guru, but I have to listen to him and I have to take my instructions from him. All right. So we're going to read from lilamrta. We're looking at from page 247. I like to make my class interactive as possible. Coming from a teaching background, you know, it's hard to just deliver. I like to elicit responses and we talk as we go along. And if you've got questions, please feel free, put your hand up. Question, if I don't know the answer, we can always try and walk around it. We got Mother Ranga here, we got Radhika Jivan, all astute students who can help me out. So I just want to continue from yesterday's class from Ananta. Ananta made, I think, a lot of valuable points, but two stuck out for me and will help me in my class this morning. He said, Srila Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta, was referred to as the lion guru. And by that we meant like he was cutting and he kept to the philosophy and he did not compromise, which is what I think Srila Prabhupada also imbibed in his life, and he kept to the philosophy. Okay, there were times where he had to go in with the needle, come out like a plow type of thing, where he had to be soft to move this movement forward. He couldn't be hard and he couldn't really say it like it was from the philosophy. But over a period of time, we could see that Prabhupada stuck to his guns. And I was reading a story yesterday where this was just before Prabhupada even took sannyas. So there was a cabinet member who wrote a book. I think it was The Realization of God. And he was such an influential person that he wanted Prabhupada to toe the line with him so he could get that book passed in Parliament, and then that book could have been released and then he could have made a lot of money out of that book. So Prabhupada, to his credit, read the book and then he gave his feedback. He said, this book is very nice, but unfortunately, this book cannot make devotees because it's based on the material level, it's based on the mundane level, and it's not going to go out there and achieve the desired result, what we want to achieve. But I wish you all the luck with your book, your servant. I think that time it was Abhay Charan, and he signed it off. So we can see that Prabhupada never compromised, never for the sake of, oh, this can be good for my movement, and what have you. And then the second point that Ananta made yesterday, and I have to share this with you on a personal level, he spoke about Krishna Das Swami who used to give and also had this chopping technique, and I think Prabhu will bear me out that he was very, very forthright in what he said. So the first time that I came to the movement, which was in 1989 in Muldersdrift, and the very first class was given by Krishna Das Swami. And there was a congregation member that was very challenging. And I think you know, if you challenge Maharaj, you're going to get his full wrath. So Maharaj after a while asked him, are you vegetarian? And the Prabhu said, I'm 90% vegetarian. So, and then Krishna Swami said, tell me what instrument you used to get that 90% figure. It's either you're vegetarian or you're not vegetarian. I don't know how you come to this conclusion of 90%. So the people were touching. Krishna Das Swami said, Maharaj, this is the biggest donor we've got here in Johannesburg. Please take it easy with him. Maharaj said, no. He can be the biggest donor. And he said it loud. He can be the biggest donor. We should not take anything from him. And that was the last time we saw of that Prabhu. So there was 2 points that Ananta made, and I thought I'll just recap that. It was a nice way to start my class today. Having visited half a dozen cities in a little more than a month's time, Srila Prabhupada was planning next to visit London. Clearly, his field had become the entire world, and his traveling was the practical enactment of his conviction that Krishna consciousness should be given to people everywhere. So, we could see that Srila Prabhupada was in a very big hurry because he knew that because of advanced age, he didn't have a lot of time to push this movement. And he wanted to make as many people as possible Krishna conscious because he wanted to follow the instruction of his spiritual master. So at the London airport, so one reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, "Sir, what is it that you brought from India that we already don't have?" Srila Prabhupada said, "You all took all the prized material possessions of our country, but the most important thing, which is our Vedic literature, I brought it personally to hand deliver it to you." So I thought that was a very, very profound. Of course, it was said tongue-in-cheek, but I think it had its desired effect. By Prabhupada's wide traveling and bold preaching, the old idea that the Bhagavad Gita and Krishna were only for Hindus had become an anachronism. Anybody knows what's the meaning of anachronism? I was lazy to look it up. Mataji? Anachronism? No. Okay, I'll go home and look it up. Well, there's the meaning. A prejudice. Barriers of race, religion, nation, sex, class are all were now down. The Hindu saying that a Swami should not cross the ocean and become a superstition, intended perhaps to protect lesser Swamis, but certainly never to restrict the message of the absolute truth from being spread. So, there's this misconception, and I can tell you that I honestly was born with this misconception that Krishna consciousness was for Hindi people, and the Thevaram and the Thirukkurul was for the Tamil people, the Mandaraji people, like us. And we grew up with that. And when we heard Katha and Janda, it meant that the Hindi people were having a prayer. They were going to read from the Bhagavad Gita. And our parents used to tell us, "You're not allowed to go. You're not allowed to go." So I can't tell you the impact of this all when my father heard that I became a Hare Krishna devotee. And he probably had to reflect on all the times he told me, "Don't go for the Katha because we are not allowed to go there." So we are born with a misconception. And I even heard Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, he said, one day he was here in the temple room, and there was this lady that came, and she asked him, "Maharaj, is this Hare Krishna movement for Hindi people only?" So Maharaj asked her, "Do I look Hindi?" So I thought that was quite funny. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed desire was that in every town and village of the world, his name would be heard, and no Vedic injunction could prohibit that, of course. The Vedic literatures advise the devotee to live in a secluded place and avoid worldly men and women. And they advise the devotee not to disturb the minds of innocent persons or preach to the faithless. So, it's an important point that this prediction that was made by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to happen whether you like it or not, whether you're on the bandwagon or you're off the bandwagon. Their movement is going to happen for the next 10,000 years, and it's going to spread to every town and village. So we, as devotees, should introspect and say, do I want to be part of this movement, or do I want to absolve myself from the propagation of this movement? So that is why when we hear the saying that we should get involved as much as possible to push this movement forward and do whatever is in our capacity to try and enhance Srila Prabhupada's movement. I think we all sitting here, we know the trials and tribulations that Srila Prabhupada went through to bring this movement to the West. And I tell you, many of us, if we take a look at ourselves, we'll ask ourselves, at the age of 70, will we make such a bold move? So obviously, Srila Prabhupada being a Uttama Adhikari, topmost devotee, he had that wish that he's going to fulfill his spiritual master's desire. And even when Srila Prabhupada went to listen to his spiritual master, he was all ears. He believed in Shravanam to the T. He was all ears. He listened attentively. And the devotees who gave him feedback said, Maharaj said, look at that boy. How attentive he is in imbibing this Krishna consciousness. That is a hallmark of a great personality. And in due time, he will bring success to the entire world. And we can see the fruits of the entire project up to now. So also in that little script that I read now, it talks about preaching to the faithless. And we know that it's one of our offenses, one of the offenses to preach to the faithless. But it is so difficult. And those of you that do books, go out on book drives, we come across all different types of people. So how do we ascertain whether a person is faithless or not? We've got to give him a hearing first. We've got to listen to him, see what he says, and then gauge that this person now I think is faithless, so better me not engage too much with him. Rather, let's tell him about the chanting. And I like the part Ananta said yesterday when Madhu Mangal Prabhu was asking this Prabhu to chant Hare Krishna. He said, I don't want to chant Hare Krishna. Madhu Mangal was so happy because he got him to repeat the words of Hare Krishna. So these are devious ways that we have to use to elicit this response. At least now that person who said that, he started his Krishna consciousness. And when you start your Krishna consciousness, then it's all spiritual benefit thereafter. Any little endeavor you make thereafter goes into your spiritual bank account, which continues lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and all you can do is progress. Whereas your material bank account, kalas ho gaya. The time of death, mar gaya. Finish. All over. So the other point that I picked up in my reading was this point of Srila Prabhupada says that we must be equipoised. Isaiah, you know the meaning of the word equipoised? Tell us. To be balanced, yes. To have a balance. Equipoised means, well, that balance could be many things, but on a spiritual level, we cannot become angry for petty issues. We cannot become overly happy when we are in a good mood. We have to strike a balance between the two extremes that we experience in reality. Vedic injunction, a devotee should not even see the face of a non-believer. Wow, that's extreme. Such rules and regulations are however intended mainly by a stalwart acharya acting on the higher principle of compassion. So, when we talk of compassion, we're talking about compassion for the devotees. Haribol Prabhu, come sit on this side. Compassion for people that are not on the rung, on the yogic ladder that we are. So I look at life like this, that the spiritual life is on a yogic ladder. So all the steps, Shravanam, Kirtanam, the association of sadhu sangha, all that, until we come to the highest level of prem, is based on a yogic ladder. There's 8 steps or 9 steps. Where we are on the yogic ladder, and it takes time by the time we move to each step. But let us not forget, before we came to our Krishna consciousness, where were we? We were there in the material world, committing so many aparads and what have you. And always I have this feeling that I need to be compassionate and bring a person up to a level where at least I can get him on the first rung of the yogic ladder. And thereafter, it's up to him to make whatever advancement. So I always give this, I know many of you have got your own stories, how you came to Krishna consciousness, but mine is a very unique one. I was standing in Joburg, and I was waiting for my wife to come from Rosebank, and with the bus. And then there was this devotee, Mother Madri. I'm sure you all know her. And if you know Mother Madri, she's one heck of a pushy woman, if she wants to be. And she was pushy with me that day. She said, Prabhu, I'm selling these books, and are you interested? I said, no, I'm a school teacher. I got no time for reading and what have you. She says, no. You see this book here, Science of Self-Realization, will change your life. And it's only 2 rand, and I didn't have any money on me. I said, ma'am, I don't have any money on me. She says, no problem. When you see me next time, I will be here for the next 2 or 3 weeks. You can come and give it to me. So anyway, I took the book, SSR. I put the book down next morning at about 3 or 4 o'clock. I read it from cover to cover. I committed offenses. I even took it to the toilet, but I didn't want to put that book down. And at the back of the book, there was an invite. Please meet at exclusive bookstore on Sunday at 2 o'clock. A tub will come and pick you all up and bring you all to Mildersdorf. So I didn't understand it too much, but I told my wife, listen, we're going for a trip on Sunday. It's an excursion, and we're going to go, and there's a van going to come and pick us up. So when I get to exclusive books, there must be about 50 Indian people from Durban. And you know they're from Durban because of the way they speak and the way they carry themselves and the noise that they make. So I asked one of the people there, tell me where you're off to. He says, no, you wait here. 2 o'clock on the dot. There's one white devotee from Australia, Dr. Rob. He'll come and he'll pick us up and he'll take us to the Mildersdorf. I said, okay. At that time, traveling with us was Jagat Guru, Prabhu. So, if people know me, I can start a conversation very easily. He said, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm an even more paka vegetarian than the devotees. So I didn't understand that. He said, no, we are so particular in our cooking and our offering. You're only not offering onion and garlic. There's many other things that we don't, certain roots we don't offer and what have you. So I didn't want to go into technicality because I was just overawed that how is it that a black-bodied person can be vegetarian from birth? And look at me. Look at where I am in my life. So anyway, we went to Mildersdorf, and I can tell you, for those, anybody's been to Mildersdorf? Yeah? No? One of the most fantastic places you could go as a devotee. If you think Thornville is nice, this is like about 30, 40 times better because it's just a farm with houses, with cows, thatched roof. Really people who are living in an environment that Prabhupada would have really, really endorsed because it was living off the land. They planted the vegetables, the cows, they had 4 cows. When you go there, it comes to the tub, licks you and whatever. It was in a mode of goodness. Really, really mode of good. So when I arrived there, an unusual thing happened. So happened Giriraj Swami arrived from India or wherever. And then I see all these people go down and offering their obeisances. I ask myself, what did I join here now? Where did I come? Indian people offering their prayers to a white man? What type of religion is this? Well, I'm so happy I stuck it out because I got to know the answer in due course of time. As we came home with the tav, and I came off, and I had completed reading the SSR, so I told my wife, from tomorrow I'm a vegetarian. She looked at me and she just laughed. And then she phoned my mother, and she told my mother, sorry I'm digressing, but I just need to, it sort of just molds the whole thing. So she told my mother, you know your son is going to become a vegetarian. She started laughing. She said, he won't last 1 week. My mother and I used to have this fight every Monday. She said, Monday is a good day. I said, who made Monday a good day? What about the other days? They're all bad days. Because you say it's a good day, now it's a good day. She said, please, Pregi, eat the vegetables. No, she had to fry some meat product for me to have that vegetable. So she was convinced that I wouldn't last. But because of the realization of reading their book and understanding why one should be vegetarian, irrespective of the consequences, I was going to follow that. And that's how I stuck to the movement. And in support of the higher principle of Lord Krishna, I promised, my devotee shall never be vanquished. The surrendered preacher, taking up Lord Chaitanya's highest order, would be immunized against contamination, despite regular contact with worldly persons, even at the risk of his own spiritual life. The preacher approached worldly people, and return, Krishna protected him. So, I mean, I'm a devotee for some time, but I can be honest and say that I haven't seen Krishna, but I can see Krishna's hands in the activities, some of the activities that I perform. Where the damage was going to be far greater, it gets limited. And a lot has to do with my driving on the road. I can promise you, some of these taxis I think would have taken me off left, right, and center by now, but I don't know how I've just come through it and I've managed. So as a devotee, as we advance, we can see Krishna's hand in your daily life, where things were going to be great, where you could not cope. You somehow get the intelligence to cope, you get the intelligence to do the right things, you get the intelligence to survive the day. Sometimes, life can be overwhelming. Life can be so daunting. And we ask ourselves, come Krishna, you need to come to the party now. And I'm sure whenever I come here, Krishna must say, oh, not Vidyapati again. Man. Oh, what is his order supply now? So then I learned now, over the years, I know the people that are sitting here have been blasting us. We don't come here to order Krishna for anything. He's not the order supplier. You come here and you see what you can do for Krishna. That is devotional service. It took me a long time to make that adjustment, but I think I've come there to that point. So I wanted to ask a question that's troubling me, and maybe you can help me to answer that. So we talk of pure devotional service. So do we, not being on the pure level, how is it at any stage in our devotion can we come to the point of where we can say, today I've done pure devotional service? Madharanga? Yeah. Keep Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So yes, we are contaminated, and whatever we perform, whatever devotional service we perform, we'll get purified by that action. So because this is a pure process given to us by Srila Prabhupada, who's a pure devotee, and whatever activities that we are doing is basically on a pure level. So, by Prabhupada's mercy, we are engaged in pure devotional service because it's given by Srila Prabhupada. We may have, we may be so contaminated and not on a pure level, but just by performance of these activities, the devotional service, then we can rise to the platform of pure devotional service. Thank you, Haribol.
Okay, thanks. No, I agree 100% with you. Okay, can I give you an example? Let me give you a scenario now. I stand there in front of the Lord, put my hands together. I say, Lord, I'm offering you my heart. I want to engage in the pure devotional service, and I say all the mantras and what have you. Can that be construed as pure devotional service? It's a pure interaction. My thoughts are pure. My deeds is pure. I just want to offer my love to the Lord at that particular moment in time. Can that be construed as a pure devotional activity? Even though I'm contaminated, I'm not pure, but I know this is a little bit far-fetched, a little bit esoteric, but Prabhu, you?
Yes, Prabhu. Could you repeat the question?
So I said, if I'm standing in front of the Lord and I'm offering the Lord 10%, I'm saying, Lord, I love you with all my heart and I want to engage in your pure devotional service. I want to be a better devotee. I want to be a better servant. And I offer my love to you. At that point in time, I'm speaking from the point of pure consciousness as I perceive it. As I think I am offering my love in a pure state. Is that pure devotional service? Just that one little 1 minute or 2 minutes that I stood there.
Yes, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells us that a little advancement on this part. Neha vikramana susti pratyavayana vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That even if someone progresses, even a little advancement on this path can protect him from the most dangerous type of fear. And so, from the elements of bhakti, the angas of bhakti, we have 9 angas. Vandanam, or offering prayers, is one of those. And therefore, those 9 angas, any activity done in one of those 9 limbs of devotional service is considered a pure devotional service. So when we're hearing, when we're chanting, of course the Navda Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, these are all, any activity done within these 9, the Prahlad Maharaj says this is devotional service, this is pure devotional service to Lord Krishna. So, in as much as maybe the words are right, the motive may be wrong.
Okay.
So, Lord Krishna is the judge of that then.
Okay.
We may be saying all the right words. Yes, I offer my love to you, my Lord. I want to be your devotee. But if internally that's not really what we want, then Lord Krishna can understand that. And the opposite is also true. The words may be wrong,
Intention may be
but
good.
the intention is right.
Okay.
Then Lord Krishna also understands that. His bhavagrahi janardana. He accepts the intention behind the activity. So we find that with Vidura's and Duryodhana's case, Duryodhana wanted to offer a big feast, grand feast, all first class preparations for Lord Krishna. But his intention and his heart was maligned with envy of Krishna, and therefore Lord Krishna refused his invitation. Whereas in Vidura's side, we see he was feeding banana peels. Not even the banana itself, the peels. But Lord Krishna could understand that Vidura is offering with all his love. So therefore, bhavagrahi janardana, we may be saying the right thing, but internally, we may also not know internally if we are really meaning it. But Krishna can understand. So it's a up to Lord Krishna to understand where to or what exactly we are offering him. One time I heard Bhakti Vishramba Madhava Maharaj saying that Lord Krishna is not interested in what we are giving him. He is interested in what we are not giving him. So it's it can play both ways. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Right. So I was listening to something from Amarendra Prabhu. He said Prabhupada came to this temple that was very, very opulent temple. And Tamal Krishna overheard Prabhupada was talking to the to the deity. So he asked the deity, are the devotees looking after you? But that was the only part that Tamal Krishna heard. Because thereafter Prabhupada started talking very, very softly to the deities. Very softly. I think I did tell the story to some devotees who were having to sing. And then, after a while, Prabhupada called for the temple president. He said, on such and such date, on this offering, you all were 1 hour late. So, we have to, that just reinforced what I had already known, that Prabhupada had a direct communication with the Lord. And he was able to know if the deities were being looked after or the devotees were not doing their jobs properly. Another story that I heard was Badrinarayan Swami was saying he heard from the devotees that Srila Prabhupada hardly slept, and at 1 o'clock in the morning he used to do his translation. He said, let me see for myself. So he snuck in at the back and he stood outside Prabhupada's room and he could hear. And he said, Prabhupada just didn't start doing his purports. He prayed to all the acharyas first to get their blessings so that whatever he wrote in his purports is going to be for the generations to come. So he had to have something on where he had the blessings of the previous acharyas, because that same blessings we will get when we read those purports. So sometimes if you are having a challenge in your life, you pick up the Bhagavad Gita, you open to any page. I don't know if this has happened to anybody, but you will find there's some solution or some resolution to the problem that you have, irrespective of where you turn the page. So it's there. And we have to understand that Srila Prabhupada invested his time, his energies, his spiritual energy, and always, he said when he was coming from India, I always felt my spiritual master with me. I never was alone. I never was alone. And when he used to give class in his Bauri or wherever, nobody used to be there, but he used to do the class. And nobody was there. But he said, later on he said, the living entities are there. And then one day when he was in Australia, they were having a big program, and there was only 3 devotees, 3 people from the community there. So the devotees wanted to cancel the class. Prabhupada said, what is that? No, even if nobody is here, I'll still go on and do the class. Because Prabhupada wanted to make it known that the living entities also benefit from whatever is being said, and they have a more auspicious birth in the next life. So let's go back to Badrinarayan. Sorry, I'm drifting. You can see I got this teacher mentality, and we move and we drift across easily. So Badrinarayan was standing outside the window. Prabhupada took a vase that was full of water, and he threw the water outside, and it hit him on his head. And he realized Prabhupada knew that he was outside and that he was listening to what Prabhupada was translating. So Prabhupada was so empowered that he was able to know the person. And a lot of the devotees who said were in Prabhupada's class, they felt when Prabhupada looked at them, he looked right through them. I think it was Buddhimanta, big devotee. He said the first time he came to the movement, he was like a mechanic or something. He sat there. He said he had this piercing look of Srila Prabhupada going right through him and could see his past, present and future. He had that penetrating look. Just one more the aspect that when Radhanath Swami came to the Cross Maidan festival, he sat at the back. And Prabhupada sent one of his devotees, says, go and bring that white-bodied devotee who was sitting right in the back. There's about 10,000 to 15,000 people. Bring him and come and put him here. Radhanath Swami wasn't happy to come because his cloth and all was very soiled because of all the traveling that he had done, and he only had one set. He used to wash and use that one set every day. So he was very reluctant, but anyway he came. And then he realized that Prabhupada had the ability to know that this person here was going to be a leader in his movement. And even when he wanted a book, he didn't have the 30 rupees to pay for that Krishna book. So devotees went to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, no, give him the book. He'll give us far more in return than that 30 rupees. And that's what he did. So we're coming close to the end of this chapter. Prabhupada was merciful to everyone, everywhere. Therefore, he was Jagat Guru, the spiritual master for the entire world. To become Jagat Guru didn't mean to claim that one was better than everyone else, or that he was the best Guru in the world. Jagat Guru meant that like Narada Muni, a preacher of Krishna consciousness went from everywhere, reached everywhere, and had disciples everywhere. And Srila Prabhupada did that. On arriving at one US airport, Srila Prabhupada had mentioned that yogis had formerly traveled in 3 different ways: by the flying carpet, by pigeons, and by mantra. Okay, I didn't know that one about the pigeons. I don't know how, but it's there. Then why have you come today on American Airlines? The reporter challenged. Oh, I know he's going to be in trouble now. Just to be one with you, Srila Prabhupada had said, smiling. But that Prabhupada had come by jet instead of by some extraordinary mystic power was actually no less miraculous. The miracle was that he was always traveling, and that wherever he went, he spoke the message of Krishna consciousness, created faith in the faithless, and transformed the low-grade persons of Kali Yuga into pure Vaishnavas. I think that's key. I'm going to read that again. The miracle was that he was always traveling, and that wherever he went, he spoke the message of Krishna consciousness, created faith in the faithless, and transformed the low-grade persons of Kali Yuga into pure Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, in addition to his selfless, compassionate traveling, was also offering volumes of transcendental literature. His disciples in 65 centers around the world were gratefully accepting the role of assisting him, assuring him that they were able to preach to the people in the areas, and he should feel confident to go on opening new frontiers of Krishna consciousness and presenting more and more transcendental literature. His disciples especially wanted him to have time for translating Srimad Bhagavatam, because he had told them that was his desire. Often he said that if he could simply spend time translating Srimad Bhagavatam, he would stop traveling. He would not stop traveling for very long, however. Even if he found enough peace and a suitable place for concentrating on the Bhagavatam, duty would call. Again, he would have to travel to see how new people to introduce Sankirtan in a new place, to ensure that his movement was progressing smoothly. Prabhupada therefore had developed a routine of translating Srimad Bhagavatam anywhere he went, for at least a few hours a day. He had a briefcase with Sanskrit Bhagavatam and commentaries, and a suitcase with a dictating machine. Wherever he was, he would rise in the middle of the night, sit at his desk with his dictating machine and Sanskrit and Bengali volumes, and take up where he had left off, translating the verses into English and composing his Bhakti Vedanta purpose. Thus, his busy traveling and his translating were able to go on simultaneously. So I think many of you know that Srila Prabhupada had a routine, And he was uncompromising in that routine, wherever he went. If you listen to Shruta Kirti, if you listen to Hari Sori in his Transcendental Diaries, they all said the same thing. Prabhupada, wherever he was in the world, even if he arrived at 10 o'clock, he did the same thing at 10 o'clock every day. This routine, he said, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering this correct, Prabhupada said, repetition is the mother of all remembrances. Repetition, that means doing the same thing over and over, you are able to remember it for a long period of time. So that routine, what it does is help you to remember things by doing it over and over. Same time, same day, and so forth. So I just want to give you a little bit of a side. You got a question?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's go.
So historically, he points out that he met Radhanath Swami in Europe. You know, the time when Radhanath Swami was hitchhiking and trying to get to India. At some point, he met Shyamasundara Prabhu. So at the festival in Mumbai, he recognized him and he told Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, bring him up to the stage. So it's just interesting that that part of history also exists. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. So there was a little... So I was reading about, okay, Prabhupada emphasized the chanting, but I was reading in the book, Here Comes the Sun, George Harrison. And before George Harrison had met Srila Prabhupada, he had already met with the Maharishi and he was chanting and what have you. So he made two statements to Srila Prabhupada. He said, by that time, George Harrison was chanting for 45 minutes every morning. And he said, I'll just read it. When we are chanting, it is not a sound, but an awakening of divinity within the heart. I think that's a profound statement. It says, chanting is not a sound, but an awakening of divinity within the heart. Chanting should not be a ritual, but an awakening of love within the heart. So, I found that two statements to be profound. And when he told Prabhupada those two things, Prabhupada said, you are absolutely right. Where did you hear that? He said, no, when I went to Rishikesh, I met with Maharishi. And Maharishi taught me that. He said, no, that's spot on. He's 100% correct. So I think, I'm reading those two statements has had a profound effect on me. So when I'm chanting now, I'm cognizant of those 2 points. That one, it's awakening of divinity, which means because the Paramatma is residing within the heart and we are arousing it. It's like those two birds that are sitting on the tree. Those two birds now are rustling those trees within the heart and bringing about an awakening in you that you are now beginning to understand who I am, where I've come from, where I'm going to. Those are three important questions that we need to answer. So it has helped me to bring about a better focus in my chanting and to be more attentive, and also I have that better feel-good factor after I'm chanting now. So I want to stop there. I know I said a lot. Please forgive me if I said anything that maybe I've offended anybody, but that's my nature. I'm a little bit unfiltered and I say things that come out through my head, but I hope I said something that is a little bit meaningful and that you can take away from today. And if there's any questions, we can try and answer it. Oh, I've got people here who can try and help me to answer. Anybody want to say something? Prabhu? Isaiah? Since you are my self-appointed Varda Pradaksha Guru, so you have to say something.
I think your class was not boring at all. I was able to focus and I a lot that I can practice. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Ah,
And
thank
I
you.
did not tell you that. I told you what I would do.
Thank you. Lilamrta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.